Good morning. Welcome to Mitchie's Motivational Monday. How you guys doing today? Man, we got some crazy weather going on here in New York. Yeah, right. I got New York on the brain. In Illinois, had some pretty huge snowflakes on Friday. Went to hang out over here in the bar for happy hour on Friday, and it was a good time as always. But today I had this thought process, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk about something that's connected to what I usually talk about, but in a little bit different angle. So the topic today is follow your heart. You know, we all inherently are raised with right and wrong, and we're all inherently ingrained in our bodies and in our beings with right and wrong. And we know in our heart when something is wrong or when something is right. And it's kind of like that sixth sense we get, you know, that gut feeling when your gut's just telling you something just isn't right, and it's sending up all these red flags, and it gets these sensors in your mind and in your brain firing differently so that you're more aware of certain things. And those things are important, and they're important to pay attention to. You know, I see in this world today a lot of bad things happening. A lot of things happening that are not good for the general whole of humanity. But the things that are happening ultimately are benefiting this higher structure. And, you know, it's funny because greed and lust for power can be overbearing on some people. Some people just allow that to consume them. And I think that's what we're seeing ultimately. We're seeing this percentage of wealth, this extremely wealthy people being put in a position that they feel they're in control over the world. They're in control over the people. And in the reality is God's in control of the people, not government. And government's put in place to do what? To govern. So they know in their heart what's right and wrong, but it's clouded. It's clouded by these lustful, greedy emotions and feelings that they have, that quest for power, control, and money, and oh, look at me, I'm the greatest, kind of an attitude. And they'll have to pay for that. They will. They'll be judged for that. And so I tend to take some of that stuff and just kind of flip it off my shoulder. It's easy to get consumed in it all. And I guess the focus of, I'm kind of getting a little bit off topic, but knowing in your heart when something's right or wrong. There's things that happen in life that we have to make a decision. We have to make a choice. And that choice sometimes affects other people. Ultimately, most of your choices do. They don't just affect you. So sometimes we have to consider what's the right thing to do in this situation. Not what's 1,000% right for me, but what's right for everybody involved. And when you do that, you're seeking your heart for discernment. You're asking the universe, the higher power, for that spiritual, emotional connection with your heart to know what's right and what's wrong. And once you tap into that, you don't even have to think about your decisions. You don't have to think about your choices most of the time, because you know what's right. There's other ones that aren't so cut and dry, other choices or decisions or paths, forks in the path, so to speak, that we have to take that we really can't just know for certain. And that's when you ask for guidance, right? And sometimes that guidance might come from a friend. Sometimes that guidance might come from a family member, from a loved one. There's a lot of places we can seek guidance, and sometimes we seek that spiritual guidance. And I've been delving a lot into that world. I've been delving a lot lately into my spirituality, and trying to step away from secular views and start looking at things from a biblical sense, from a biblical standpoint. But that's good for me, and it's ultimately good for everybody, but not everybody chooses that, and that's fine. So I'm thinking about starting another channel. It'll be a swing off of this one. This one will still happen, but maybe do a passage or, some kind of spiritual thought for the day. Because a lot of times life gets overburdening, life gets heavy, life gets difficult, and we choose to carry all that weight. We choose to struggle and fight and go against the current, when in reality we should be letting it go, giving it to the higher power, giving it to God, passing it off, taking it off your shoulders, and only focusing on those things that we can control, those things that our decisions can help us determine what we need to do and have control of that. A dear friend of mine, she's going through some struggles mentally and emotionally, and she's got all these things that she's choosing to carry. And I'm like, well, this thing you can't control, so let that go, and let this go, and let this go, because you can't control that, and you can't control this, so let it go. And you start peeling off those layers, you start taking off those weights from you, and eventually the load gets a lot lighter, and you can focus more on what it is that you're needing to deal with, what it is that you can control, ultimately. And the heart guides you. Stay out of this so much. Your mind can sway. But if your heart's pure, if your heart is given, then it'll never steer you wrong. And that can go off on another tangent to say steer you wrong. Everything in life happening for us and not to us. When you can look at life from that perspective, you don't think of it as right and wrong. You think of it as a learning experience or a lesson and a triumph, or a goal met, or a challenge accepted and taken on and succeeded in. So there's different avenues to everything. I have no education when it comes to this. When it comes to talking to you about motivation, when it comes to talking to you about spiritual things, I have no education in that. I'm a carpenter, but I know what I've been through. I know how it feels when I take those things and I give it away and let it be carried by something else, by someone else, by a higher power. Whatever you choose that higher power is for you. And by doing so, I know how it makes me feel. And so most of my talks are based on experience and outcomes of challenges. Sometimes they're painful. We got to walk through the fire, If your child is struggling with something, your child, say in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're struggling in their relationship, or they're struggling with this, or they're struggling with that, offer guidance, but let them struggle. Don't feel that you have to take that on. Don't feel that you have to carry their burdens. That's their path. They have to go through it. You can't go through it for them. Just like nobody else can go through your path. Nobody else can go through the fire that you have to go through to get to the other side. So keep those things in mind and, reach out to me. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about a spiritual, YouTube channel that's a couple days a week, whatever, just really short, just talk about a quick passage and go on. It's not going to be for everybody, and that's kind of why I want to separate the two, because some people choose to stay in the secular mindset and they don't believe that there's a higher power, and that's okay. That's on them. So I don't want to push that on people that don't want to hear it. So by splitting my channel, I can then focus on each thing individually, and the people that want to hear it will be there. So I notice that I typically get about 19 to 25 views on my videos. That means that there's 19 to 25 people that not only want to hear what I have to share, but it helps them. It makes them feel good. Some of my messages do. So give me some feedback. I'd really love to hear it. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that like button. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you. And beyond that, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you have an incredible day. And I hope this week is amazing, fruitful, and gives you all the blessings you deserve. So, till next time, guys, I love you all. Have a great day.